in the mid game already, with the lone druid likely to be in big bear form. But the bear is very fast, so this is something that can get into the front lines, can chase the drow. Doesn't do great against physical damage generally, and they're going to have a lot of it. Like we've seen Slardar picks to counter lone druid in the past when lone druid was popular, but Giants have shied away from this hero. They have not been running very much Lone Druid. If anything, I'd say the Broodmother has been the go-to for Bulldog. The Batrider pick really discourages a Brood pick. Even if you do well in the lanes, come mid-game, Bat is so good at hunting Brood. And yes, the general Brood playstyle has been more about coming to fights and joining your team than in the past. It's not less of like the pure split pusher, but there's definitely still an element of that to Brood play, and that's what Bat can punish. So Alliance say we want a big bloodlusted bear. It's fearsome. It's something that can get in the face of the drown. In the mid game is tanky, but the game goes late enough, you're going to be able to focus it down. So what does Alliance have in store for us next? They now ban out the Enchantress. Interesting to see this hero getting banned against EG because prior to this event, PPD is not known for his jungle heroes.
No, not really.
Zai, yes, for the Enigma at TI4, but this is not really a team that historically has run Enchantress and Chen, but they have been running Chen at this event, albeit with mixed results. I think there was one game against Na'Vi where they got crushed when they tried to run it. But they've also not been afraid to pick the jungle heroes, and they will go for the ban on it, Alliance. So showing some respect here to PPD.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think also with the Chen pick coming out for Evil Geniuses in that game against Na'Vi, it's more of a block pick than anything else. They don't want to give it to Artstyle. I mean, Artstyle, it's either one of those two heroes, Chen or Enchantress half the time, so something just to take away from that particular squad of Dota 2 players. But we'll see what they want to go for, Evil Geniuses with their supports, as they have 2 cores ready to go and underway. Alliance, I'm thinking about a more team fight oriented, or I guess a fighting oriented hero with their safe laner for Loda. That's the thing that I'm probably the most interested in, the most keen in. He played Lifestealer not too long ago. Obviously, they had the Drow game against Escape, I believe, in that second game. So
you need that hero that can start fights for Alliance. So S4, we saw that there was a period where teams were running Spectre Lone Druid. That was a really popular opening. Spectre is very slow, and if you're also running Lone Druid, I think it's way too slow. He is great against Drow if you get even like halfway decent farm come mid game. You just haunt automatically. Her precision or her bonus damage for marksmanship goes away, and you're able to just focus her down and stick on her in fights. But I don't think we'll see Spectre, just given that he's fallen off. So looking more for initiators here, frontliners. We've seen at times the Loda Centaur has been picked. I think it's not bad against Drow. It's pretty good to deal with Batrider. And potentially either counter gank or turn the fights. They also really need a lasso counter here. But they're not going to actually grab a support that counters it. Instead, they get a Lich. So Frost Armor, Bloodlusted Bear. This is a way to deal with the physical damage from Drow. I think more importantly, though, when you see a Drow pick, Drow is meant to win the lanes. You pick Drow, you're pretty much expecting to win them by default just from the aura.
Exactly.
Frost Armor and the Lich Creep Deny may allow you to deal with this hero, at least through the laning stage. So the S4 puck, immediately after that, there's your initiation.
You were talking about the Spectre, and I think that the hero actually has not been picked or banned here in TI6. It's one of the very few heroes that has been taken out completely in terms of just not being touched. We're at currently 96 heroes picked, and unless something else gets picked that's a little bit crazy here, it's going to take a while before we see that this next couple of heroes, I imagine.
More likely looking at this game, like in the meta picks that work for Alliance, Juggernaut, Healing Ward is great with Lone Druid, great for pushing, really good against Mirana because the Blade Fury and Omni Slash allow you to dodge huge amounts of nuke damage, and EG, outside of the Drow, are pretty much all nuke damage for now. So what do EG go for? They have Lasso to initiate, as well as Moonlight Shadow. They need supports here. They need PPD and Zai's hero. And it could be a Zymeron, I suppose. And they will grab the Chen. So
they do go for it.
He goes for it. All right.
The question is it Zai or PPD playing in? That's the big.
It's been
big
PPD on the Chen. It could change potentially, but it has been PPD playing it.
Well, that is still an interesting pick and allows them to have even more push here. Obviously, they might have wanted the Enchantress more, but with Hand of God, they have a little bit more heal later on down the road. When they want to push, they can with the Chen creeps. Test of Faith is a very strong nuke. Doesn't have that physical or the right-click damage, I should say, that you have from an Enchantress, which of course course, is pure. But Alliance, they'll be able to deal with this. They have good, somewhat okay wave clear, I guess, in the Puck and the illusory orb. And Puck, especially when he gets. This is a game where you're looking at a Puck and you're saying, well, I think I should probably be getting a Veil of Discord because it allows you to clear the waves so efficiently and so quickly that it might be really good to have against the Chen creeps and the Chen army. And I would not be surprised to see Alliance go for the Puck with the Veil.
Veil is also really good with Radiant, so I like Veil a lot this game. I think S4 would probably get it regardless, but whether he rushes it over a blink, that I'm not sure about. You're running... Right now, Puck is like your only mid-game initiator. Ogre running and stunning is not initiation, realistically. So I think if they don't pick another initiator for Loda, like the Centaur I mentioned is kind of an out there possibility, then probably Blink first, but EG going to ban the Weaver here. Interesting ban. It looks like Alliance could tilt very heavily into deathballing with, say, a Juggernaut pick. They could go for more split push in late game with a Weaver, who right now EG lack the good catch for. I really like Alliance's draft heading into this final pick. I feel like their overall game plan is still not entirely clear, even though they're 2 picks.
They have, that's a good thing.
2 carries in and 4 picks.
It's another open in the draft that allows them to go in one direction or another direction, or a little bit of both, depending on what heroes they pick. And in Evil Geniuses, obviously they have a lot of push. They also have a decent amount of late game. Drow Ranger not as bad as she used to be in the late game. In fact, one of the stronger heroes in the late game. Mirana late game, more of a caster, and against BKBs can kind of struggle if you are going to be playing with that Aghanims into that Shiva's Guard or Ethereal Blade.
So what do we think? Is it a core Mirana or support Mirana? I'm leaning towards core.
Yeah, I think so. They have no real setups for it.
I like Shadow Demon for Zai. It's great with the Drow Ranger to have another save.
Also good with the Mirana in conjunction to set up arrows, but
yes,
Chen
Shadow Demon is a good dual roam combo. So Alliance ban the Bane, which is another hero that can set up ganks.
And PPD's Bane is he plays that a fair bit too. I would say
and the Enfeeble is quite annoying for Lone Druid as well. So
I think if PPD heroes in Earthshaker also comes to mind, Treant, all these heroes, but none of them are going to fit in the lineup, I feel like. So it's more likely, like you talked about, a Shadow Demon.
I still think it's a PPD Chen.
We'll see. Last pick, Lion, coming out.
Alright, so it gives them a better way to deal with Puck. This is the main reason for the Lion pick, because now, like, Blink Lasso against Puck isn't really that great if the Puck is quick reactions. You can just phase shift and then blink away before you actually get the lasso off.
Right.
Or just blink out, potentially, if he has his own blink dagger. But if you get the blink hex, then you can focus him down.
A very strong pick, a very strong support duo. Lots of burst damage with Test of Faith, with obviously all of Lion's abilities as well. We'll wait and see how it's going to turn out. And then the last pick, Broodmother, coming out for Alliance. It's a load of Lone Druid. Who would have thought?
I mean, this just goes to my point. Like, you didn't know what Alliance was doing 4 picks in. Are they going to go for the load of Juggernaut? You know, the Lone Druid, just 5-man Death Ball? Do they go for a Spectre and try to take it super late? I didn't think it was a great Spectre game. Do they pick, you know, something like a Centaur that's good for, like, the mid-game fighting, gives them a secondary initiator? No, Travis, they don't do any of those things. They go for the double split pushing lineup. They run the Lone Druid for Loda. This is definitely a curveball. I don't think EG saw this coming.
And it's going to be kind of tough. I mean, yes, you have the Bat Rider against the Broodmother, which I think is a better matchup for the Bat in that situation. However, until the Mirana is going to come down and throw up some Starstorms, there's no real way to deal with all of these Broodlings. Earthspike's not going to be able to do that much either. There's not that much AoE clear from these heroes. It's really Starstorm, and it's going to be Firefly. So Alliance get away with a great last pick coming out as well. And with that, we will jump into the game and see who heads where, as right now, lots of TPs coming in from Alliance. They'll TP 1 mid, have Ake drop a ward down, they'll TP Bulldog down bottom as well, and put his, of course, webs, and then, well, actually, Zai's nearby to drop a ward himself if need be.
Yeah, the Zion moving in here, bottom, and we'll get an Observer ward down on the high ground near this bottom lane. But looking at EG, no dust to start the game off. They only have the sentries right now on PPD. So it looks like they want Universe to be matched against the Broodmother. I still think this is a very good lane for Brood. You can easily cut the creeps. And when Firefly is down, Bat can't do anything against Brood. So just keep your Spiderlings away while he Fireflies. If he doesn't get help, Bat is going to have a rough time. But he can always just carry TP Scroll. If he feels like he's under pressure, just TP out, come back to the lane. So unlikely to die, but it should be free farm for Bulldog. They also have the Lich, and so I think Alliance can win a second lane on the back of that pick.
Yeah.
just secure mid for S4, maybe EGM even helps him, and then you have a Lone Druid heading to the off lane. Lone Druid versus a Drow, which it looks like Fear, I think Fear probably goes mid here, Sumail top? Looks like Sumail's mid, so you have an off lane Drow. I don't know. EG might lose all 3 lanes. This looks really good for Alliance as far as the laning setup goes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look at EG, and they'll probably send Zai up to the top lane. The Chen, he can't really just stay in lane, so it's not like an aggressive trial lane is going to work out. Obviously, for Alliance, though, they were going to have the Lich, and he'll be mid for the most part, or at least helping them, at least in the early stages of this game. And so, as you've mentioned, their backs against the wall. Alliance go for the choice of getting a really strong laning setup with the Broodmother as well in the last pick, and Ake playing that Lich. And we'll see how things do turn out here. His sacrifice was already used in that mid lane, so this will push out in favor of Alliance and head towards the tower. And Sumail needs to be avoiding that Frost Blast as much as possible. Meanwhile, in the top lane, this is where we're going to see the action. Is Fear, Zai versus Loda, as well as EGM, but bottom lane also, we may see a first blood if we're not careful as well.
So the key hero to keep an eye on is definitely the Chen. Lich is just going to sit in lanes and try to win them passively. Do want to point out, nice play by Bulldog. He blocks this camp. I think they were expecting the bat to be off lane. So we'll see if Alliance want to make adjustments. But to be honest, I still think Brood versus Bat is a fine matchup.
Denied.
Early on, though, EG doing a good job at harassing Loda's Bear. It did not start with a Stout Shield. So I don't think they're expecting the Drow to be here. They might kill this Bear. This is a big blunder if it goes down.
Oh, man, 12 HP, Zai. He needed a bit more extra damage to get it done, and unfortunately, it was not going to be his right click to do it, but Fear's.
He needs a Stout Shield, and Loda's like, yeah, I'm going to go grab that right now.
There it is. That'll make it a little bit harder to bring this Bear down. A bit more tanky. And still obviously susceptible to the damage from Fear, but we'll see how things do turn out. Sumail mid, he's actually going toe-to-toe with S4 right now. And here comes
Arrow.
Arrow's going to come through and he's going to hit him. He walked into it, S4. Oh, he walked into the arrow. Oh, my. S4, what an uncharacteristic mistake to go down like that against Sumail.
He had plenty of time. He knew it was likely coming. Maranas generally are not going to Starstorm at that stage. Just an individual misplay. And now EG, honestly, like, Alliance win that lane passively because they have the Lich. All they have to do is just deny creeps and they're going to win. But now maybe not the case as PPD. He makes his first smoke rotation mod. What's he going to find?
He was deciding where to go. Maybe just get another, I guess he's just going to go for another camp at this point. There's no real wards here for the Dire, so even if he doesn't have that smoke, he can still rotate up to the top lane and try to find a kill, or mid. Vision-wise right now, there's one I think there's one ward, and it's currently sitting in the mid lane, and then there's another ward down bottom, close to that small camp for Alliance at this point in time. So there's not that much vision up top. We'll wait and see what rotation he makes. He's bringing down a camp currently with his, of course, Dark Troll Summoner. He could have brought Mud Golem with, of course, the 125 damage Boulder Toss, but that's not the case.
You love emphasizing the damage on the Boulder Toss.
It's a lot of damage. I mean, listen, 125 is a lot of damage at like 3 minutes into the game, and you have like 4 of them. It's really good, but he's found Ake instead.
Speaking of damage,
he's got the pendant. The Earth Spike will come out, and that's more than enough. The amplified damage coming out from his Q ability is actually ridiculous. Now the Bear might fall with the Frost Arrows. He's going to try to get away, and it looks like he just might. They need the Hex or Earth Spike. There's the Hex. Earth Spike might be next. They're diving the tower for this, and they'll get it. Zai will take tower hits. There's no Ignite to follow up from EGM, and that's a 300 gold bounty going the way.
And Sumail finds a solo kill again in the mid lane. Alliance just getting outplayed. That's all you can really say about this. It's little things and then it's big plays from EG. No Stout Shield on the Bear to start the game. Sumail finding a kill that he never should have. S4 just getting a bit overconfident, playing way too aggressively when he could just win the lane passively by letting the Lich deny creeps. And then the rotation top lane, that's a great move by PPD. Alliance not having vision there. But the lack of early Stout Shield leads to the Bear being lower HP. They didn't have the resummon. He ends up giving up a kill on it. That's 300 gold. That's a lot to be giving up this early.
And so EG, we've seen Drow strats before, and when they do get the ability to, of course, just snowball out of control in the laning phase, they often are able to secure the mid to late game. And not even that, usually it's the game lasts anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. And that might be the case this time. I do want to say, though, that there is a great bottom lane matchup for Admiral Bulldog. As you talked about, Bulldog's doing a great job. even with Firefly up that Universe just used, he doesn't have the movement speed to be able to kill these Broodlings when they're in, of course, the webs, not without any detection anyways. And so he has to pick up the Tranquils. He might think about heading to the jungle instead. We'll see if he heads back down to bottom, and it looks like it will be the case. His eyes rotated up as well with Dust. Let's see if they can find a kill on this Broodmother.
Yeah, he got his Tranquil Boots off that bear kill. I believe it was Zai that got the last hit, so allows him to move around a lot more confidently. Sumail marches in mid. S4 has no boots. This lane's over.
This damage.
2 solo kills for Sumail, and what do you really do at this point? You're down 1,000 gold.
The damage is starting to get ridiculous. I mean, he's got way more than his 4.
Well.
Yeah, that's the thing, is the damage from the Drow is really helping him out in this lane. At the beginning of the game, because the Lich was there, because he didn't have as much damage, it was going okay. But now, with that death, and oh no, look at that bottom lane. All of these Broodlings might go down to the Firefly from Universe. It's going to be so much gold going their way if they can get it. And it looks like most of them will end up falling.
You see the dust on the lion, and your natural thought is, oh, he's going to be ganking the Broodmother. Wrong, he's ganking the Spiderlings.
Yeah, he wants that gold.
But that's a hero kill's worth of gold.
Like, he was sitting at like 20 last hits, he's at 35 now because of the Broodlings. And yeah, it's not as much gold, obviously, as a regular last hit, but still, it's some decent farm going the way of the Battlerouter. And Fear is about to get the bear kill again, 10 HP, but no, Loaded denies it nicely. He does have a resummon. He's currently out of mana to use it, however.
Still, this bear is getting completely hounded. It adds up not starting with that stout shield, and with PPD's rotation, this top lane begins to spiral out of control. So the question becomes, what does Alliance do to adapt at this point? Another arrow coming in mid. S4 will dodge that. The issue for me is the one hero that can move around and make plays for them is the Puck, and the Puck is the one that's having the worst time of all of them as far as like what he should be doing. He has Frost Armor, he has Lich Denies. Even with the Drow Aura, Mirana should not win that lane that hard normally.
They're really trying to get top right now, but a great TP out coming from EGM. Realizing something was coming, and they will not find this gank. I do want to talk about the Lich pickup is because we talk about roaming supports and roaming heroes in general, and obviously you have the Ogre Magi, but Lich really has to kind of just sit in one lane and help, and try to maybe throw out a Frost Blast, but at this point he really can't rotate to help top. Maybe throw up the Ice Armor if he was up there, but he's not. He can't TP up, and they will lose this Tier 1 tower. It's the first of the game, and it's a very important one at that. The opposing team's Tier 1 tower. Sumail gets another kill onto the Lich. Getting an arrow, perhaps, or just the Starstorm might have been enough with level 4.
Didn't even need the arrow. All right, well, this lane's over.
That's insane. Sumail is now, by far and away, your net worth leader, up to 3,800. And that's pretty impressive, considering he was dueling against for the first couple of minutes.
Once you get behind a Mirana, you have such a difficult time catching up. She gets that quick level 7, has the double Starstorm with phase boots, and Lich is basically a solo kill without even really needing to hit an arrow. You can just run him down with auto attacks. Puck is level 6 now, no mana for the coil, he's gonna go back to base. Alliance probably have to move around the Puck, but as soon as the Puck moves, Ichi's just gonna call that. He won't be visible mid, and they could just back off and farm. They're in a bind now, Mod. I'm really scrambling to figure out what they can do. Rotating Broodmother isn't going to be effective. Bulldog's not nearly farmed enough. Generally, he likes to go Midas, Echo Saber, Deso, go for more of like a heavy DPS Broodmother, but I also want to point out, Universe even got the tower deny mid, so everything rolling EG's way right now. The Chen Hand of God is coming online soon. They're going to hit a very strong timing, and I think it's where Alliance have to find some smoke ganks and pickoffs, but in the head-on fight, they're going to struggle mightily. And
the thing is, they don't really want to bring the Broodmother to one of those smoke ganks either. He's going to want to try to just sit bottom, continue to push that Tier 2 tower at this point. Like you said, the deny already came up to Tier 1. He has picked up a Sage's Mask. There's a good chance it is going to be the beginnings of an Oblivion Staff, which then means, more than likely, an Echo Saber going the way of Bulldog, as that is his build that he loves to run. Now mid lane, there's the Hexa Bake's caught. Earthspike will follow, Starstorm, 2 hits. And Sumail backs away before even completing the kill. They just know that he's dead with the Starstorm proccing the way that it had. Easy kill for Sumail.
A sign of how rough this is that Lich is the lowest level support in the game. Lich should probably be the highest level support in the game at this point. Normally, just denying creeps and not dying, you'll be level 7.
Oh, they found the bear. Again, the bear will fall.
Alright, this bear is useless. I don't know what he can do at this point.
Loda has not found nearly enough farm either.
Can't get the tower denied. That goes to PPD. That's going to be an early mech for EG. Likely a quick Ags for Sumail. Blink is on the way for Universe. Doesn't seem like he's saving for the drums. Or going for the drums. S4 needs to make plays. The guy who had the roughest start out of everyone on Alliance, that is the one hero that can get them back in this game. Bulldog will go Midas. He needs even more time before he can be an impact hero. As rough as it sounds, it's really all on S4.
Yeah, S4, and he had an invis rune, and I thought he was going to make something happen, and it's so... Anytime S4 gets one of those crazy runes, you get worried. He's going to walk into an invis rune or a sentry, as you see, and he's going to get caught. His eye is going to scout him out, but he's going to stay around it as well, but no one's rotating over to try to find him. It looks like they'll just back up, and EG will not be... You know, they're not going to push their luck at this point. They're just going to farm and continue to get everything they need, including Sumail, who went phase boost, has picked up also a point booster. So he went for some early game items that you don't usually see with the Aghanim Scepter Mirana.
I'm crushing my lane. I want to continue crushing it, and I'll catch up as far as the Aghanim's rush goes just by getting additional kills. There's another move mid. Sumail setting up. Not going to make the actual go, but let's protect the old man. So EG, I think what they're waiting for at this point, it's Blink on Universe, it's Mech on PPD, it's the what the name is escaping me right now. Sorry, the Dragon Lance on the Drow and the Aghanim's on Mirana. They get all those items. Maybe a Blink on the Lion is kind of a nice bonus. They will just constantly be running at Alliance, finding ganks, pushing towers, looking to take Roshan. They will roll from objective to objective. That's the thing for Alliance is they don't have really the best defensive lineup. They don't clear waves that easily. You mentioned a Puck Veil. It's a great pickup with an eventual Lone Druid Radiance, but it's going to be very late with the start he's had.
Yeah, he only has currently Treads and the one Null Tally. Still, Sumail, or excuse me, S4 is not that far behind. I mean, yes, in comparison to the Mirana, he is pretty far behind, but the rest of the squad, he can start getting up there if he just gets a few kills. The bounties are going to be a lot of gold going the way of Alliance if they can find these pickoffs. And right now, Broodmother's just on the backside, maybe looking for a backstep, as everyone with the exception of the Lone Druid is coming in, and the arrow is now going to ADGM.
That's 4 smoked up, though.
They're going to dive behind, they get off that lasso. There's the Dream Coil onto 2, beautifully done, still no follow-up damage. The Chain Frost will bounce through, isn't enough damage though, LD.
They're going for the TP out. They can't let him get away. They will find the kill. Looking for more. Chasing onto Sumail. Leap on cooldown for 8 seconds. He does hit the orb. He's got a silence at 3. Sumail with the double Starstorm. Is he going to get the kill? No. It's S4 to the rescue. Gets both cores. Holds the tower. And salvages the game. In fact, they did that without the Lone Druid. Loda got his Midas. He's farming top lane. And just like that, the guy who got dumped on the hardest in the laning stage puts Alliance right back in the game.
That is just one of those S4 plays that you sometimes expect him to make, honestly. He just comes out of nowhere and suddenly he evens up the game for you, having a two-man Dream Coil, and they get off plenty of damage coming through with the help of Bulldog being there in that fight. Yeah, sure, they lost the Ogre Magi, but that doesn't matter at all. The Chain Frost was great as well.
I almost feel like EGM wanted that arrow to hit him. He's like, this is how we bait EG, and I'm just so tempting.
Walks into the arrow.
I mean, it's a big hunk of meat to take down the Ogre, and that's the thing is, even with the arrow, it takes a while to kill that hero, so it gave them time to wrap around and set up, but that was the fight that Alliance needed. Now, Broodmother has time. They are running double Midas. They will get probably a couple minutes of breathing room off of that. They also will delay EG's timings. The mech, I think, coming out for PPD. No, just the Buckler still needs the recipe, but it will slow things down.
And that's what they need to do. Alliance, they have the late game, they have the Lone Druid, they have the Broodmother. They have potential. Batrider has the Blink Dagger now, though, and of course, they still have some good farm, but if you look at the top net worth right now, 3 of the top 4 are going in the way of Alliance. The Broodmother at the top of that list, and that's not surprising considering the start that he had. He now has a Midas, he has his Oblivion Staff, the Echo Saber is not far behind. And Sumail is starting to, well, he had a great start, but now he's starting to slow down a little bit. And even Fear needs to finish up that Dragon Lance, is still not there yet. And he'll have to go to Ancients in order to complete it at this point in time.
I'm interested to see how the Broodmother fits into the Alliance game plan moving forward. Theoretically, this hero is very difficult to run away from in fights. So if Bulldog gets to that point where he's got BKB, Desolator, sometimes we even see Blink Dagger on Broodmother, and he jumps on the Drow, like, they're going to have to lasso and try to focus him, and then the Bear just runs in and gets to do whatever he wants. But in theory, I think Brood is a pretty good hero to stick on a Drow in team fights if you're fighting around your webs.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough for the Drow to see.
Not to mention the incapacitating bite, very annoying for any right-click hero, especially a Drow.
Yep.
with the slow as well.
So you pretty much have to be very diligent with detection and EG. God, they really want to keep... Nope, there's the last one coming in from the universe, and now S4 caught out Finger, they blow him up. It's just that quick. The drive-by gank from EG as they come in, they get it done. I thought the hand of God might have been wasted, but they were using it as well in conjunction with that gank, which was very interesting, and it was successful.
Did not spend his gold, so S4... I think he was saving for the blink there.
Yeah,
if he wants the Veil, he could have bought components by now. That will delay it.
That's a huge pickup that gives them some free time to try to poke at this tier 2 tower, but with no Drow Ranger up there at this point in time, I don't think any way they try to take that at this point. Fear has finished up his Dragonlance. He's now got 2 Wraith Bands, a set of Treads, and the Dragonlance to top it all off, but he's gonna get out farm pretty soon as this Lone Druid finishes up his Radiance. He's got that Midas that you had talked about, and he's gonna have more pretty soon.
They have a lasso on 30, so some opportunity here for S4 to farm. It looks like Alliance just really want to get the blink, and then they will make a smoke play. In fact,
they're going to do it
now. They won't
now.
even wait for the blink.
That's
They're
crazy.
already on the move.
They want to get something done. They know that if they let this continue on for EG, they can still take towers. They can still, of course, take fights. EG cannon.
Hello,
they might
Zai.
find Zai, yeah. That Observer Ward, he's about to walk right into it, and he's probably dead. That's it. Yeah, lose your orb. And plenty of damage from the Fire Blast igniting. We'll see.
They even commit the coil for that. That is heavy investment. I think Ogre was going to be in range for an ignite, and then likely they get the kill without it, but S4 didn't want to risk his teammate getting stunned and then getting out. Just really wants to secure the blink. Now he has
Shadow
it.
bottom lane, they're going to look for something here, and Bulldog is in the tree line.
Good positioning by Bulldog.
I think they think he's in the jungle right now, but in fact he is down and TPing towards his own tier 2 tower. He is out. They won't find anything with this Moonlight Shadow. They were close, but it's not going to matter. It looks like Universe is still invis with the smoke, and he's going to try to find something with his Firefly, but...
Really good map awareness there by Bulldog, but I think it still shows you something about the matchup that we've gotten past the laning stage, we head towards the mid game. Bulldog is the most farmed hero. And I know this is something PPD has actually talked about in the past when he's cast at the Summit and other events, is that he really feels like Broodmother isn't that big of a deal, because even if she has a good start, you can just punish, like that Brood gets ahead with the rubber band mechanic being what it is. You just keep on ganking her in the mid game, and as long as you're able to kill her, you will come back and punish her for being ahead. Somewhat like an Alchemist pick. We saw that in the LGD EG series earlier today, where the Alch got really far ahead and then was just feeding enormous amounts of gold back to LGD. So Bulldog always has to worry about that Moonlight Shadow initiation, as there is a lasso top.
They're going to bring ETM down to the low ground. They're going to get the Earth Spike off. The Fire Blast does go onto Universe, but the Flame Break pushes him even forward. The Starstorm is going to follow up and secure that kill. It's a nice pick off. It's, again, a lasso spending for just one of those kills for one of the supports. But again, a kill is a kill, and it actually, I think, with Sumail being involved, he's finished up his Aghanim Scepter because of it.
Yeah, Brood at this point, those spiderlings could quickly become food for the likes of EG.
Yes, that is, oh my. The Aghanim Scepter Starstorm is going to be one of the best possible things to have in this situation against the Bulldog, Broodmother, and Broodlings. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if they try to go for bottom again. But for now, it's again, just keep Fear farming and see if they can maybe group up and try to take some towers down, especially now that the mech is flying out as well, I believe. Maybe it's not. Actually, it's not. I guess they just have the buckler and headdress. I could have sworn he had
he still doesn't have the recipe, huh?
Yeah, he's having a rough
They're
time.
trying to get the Lion Blink, so Zai has stopped buying wards and smokes. It's been PPD buying those, but it does eat into this EG timing quite a bit, where it gives Alliance space to farm up the Radiance, likely coming very soon. Bulldog gonna get the Echo Saber now into BKB. Next item is normally a Deso, just for some cheap right-click damage, as they do find Zai top. This blink will be delayed, very likely. And another
so
foil.
far up.
This hate for Zai.
He might actually make it out. No, the Savage Roar is there inside. The Earth Spike is not going to be long enough to stun be able to keep him alive. The Urn's going to come through. Ignite
Kill
will
that
go.
man already.
Man, they took forever in doing so. The infused raindrop even saved him from that illusory orb, which should have killed him, but it finally will bring him down with S4's right click doing the job. But yeah, he's too far up, I think, in that situation. I know he wants his blink and he wants to farm, but it's not like he was placing wards down or anything. He just got caught in a bad position looking for CS.
So for Alliance, we've talked a lot about the EG timings. They're getting close to pretty much all those items they need. Alliance are about to get their Radiance. They'll have the BKB momentarily on Bulldog. That to me, along with the Veil on the puck, that's really all Alliance needs, and then they can look for fights. Veil is super scary, combined with Radiance and puck. That's an enormous amount of magic damage, and that's not even factoring in the Ogre. So that's where I expect Alliance to try to take fights, look for towers. And as I say that, big old hate on the Bear.
300 gold going Universe's way, which will help him finish off his force staff. Always nice to have. It's pretty good. And
I think that's the second time the Bear has died, so we'll keep track on the Bear violence.
He does have the relic.
Not endangered, in good news.
Loda's going to have this Radiance at roughly 20 minutes. Radiance minus 20 minutes, and then this game gets a little harder for AG because all of a sudden you have to deal with a Radiance Bear on top of just whatever else they have.
Yeah, Veil likely for the puck.
I would be shocked if he did not go Veil. I think that's what I was going to ask you. I was like, is there any chance he doesn't go Veil? And that's my theory. If he doesn't go Veil, I'd be absolutely flabbergasted.
We're just going to rage quit the cast if he doesn't go Veil.
I mean,
I think it's core when you're running a Radiance carry, at least Lone Druid because of how quickly he gets it. Alliance moving in bottom though, they're going to find PPD.
He's going to get caught. No mech still, he's very close, but it's now going to be punished, and it's the Broodmother getting the kill using his spawn spider to pick it up.
Even bigger though, he's killing this creep army, and Bulldog knows it. He bypasses one creep, looks for the second, but that's 4. They will massacre PPD and his whole creep army, and I think he had 860 gold there, Mod, so it's a very unfortunate time for Chen to die right before the mech, and so with that death, Alliance can go directly into the Roche pit. Even if Chen respawns, he will not really have the ability to join this fight. No Chen creeps for the Roche pit test.
You're absolutely right. And now with Broodmother getting the BKB as well, it's even harder. The Admiral Bulldog has done some serious work this game again on this Broodmother. They'll take Roche down. The arrow's going to come through, and it looks like Ice Fleets. Yeah, they actually took the...
They have a ward, yeah. So good movement there by Bulldog on the Spiderlings.
Spiderlings tank the arrow by just walking up with the ward vision, making sure they understand where everyone is situated, or at least where the arrow is coming from. And that's going to be the Aegis taken by Loda. They'll TP back towards mid as both top and mid are getting pressured now. Zai doing a good job. Again, very close to blink, cannot afford to die, but he will get the tower, and that's enough for him to get the blink dagger. But there might be a fight breaking out here, LD, as the arrow's going to sail through.
A Sport can go in here. The Bears scouting things out.
Good Savage Roar leap. No, Sumail leaps into everyone. And that Starstorm is going to do some damage, but he silenced him and gets entangled. He will go down. That was probably a misclick, I want to say. There's no way he jumps straight into the fight like that.
I think the Savage Roar turned him around.
Yep.
And so then he was facing the wrong way, and I guess just didn't quite patiently wait long enough to hit the E button. Mirana turns, her turning could feel like very quick. And she's very pivoty, so just facing the wrong way, a bit unfortunate there. He does buy a Yule Scepter after that, as I think he's tired of being a one-coil death, but still, it's Alliance in the driver's seat for now. This is going to be their timing window. They have the Aegis, they have their core items, and they should be looking to push. I think it's a max Frost Armor now, level 3, or sorry, no, level Frost Armor. So they can just keep on throwing the Ice Armor on the Bear, and looking to siege with that. Bulldog is very difficult to deal with, pretty much requires a lasso during BKB, or they have no other tools to control him. And if you don't control him, he will just kill your Lion with ease. He can run on the Drow and shut her down in fights. So Alliance are going to hit a good timing here. And the question is, what can EG do about it? Mirana can split push. Batrider can find pickoffs, but in a head-on fight, EG are looking very weak at this stage of the game.
They're going to use the Moonlight Shadow. Silver Edge is about to come out from here. They're going to jump in. Lassos onto EGM. Maybe not the target they want. Good Dream Cool to counter initiative. They found S4 on the backside. Zai figures him up. He's low. Dagon comes out. Zai, Hand of God, won't keep him alive long enough. On the other side, EGM still in trouble. Starstorm bringing him down. But so far, it's only EG dying right now, LD.
Running for Sumail. They're going to bring down the big old cat. They look for PPD. Slowed down and burnt up by the Radiance. Still continues pursuit. Barely surviving.
Look at the HP from everyone from Alliance. They're so goddamn low, and they're gonna make it out somehow.
That Ice Armor does so much work. The Bear just tanks everything. Now they get a Solar Crest for Bulldog to throw on it. They are building a Super Bear, Travis. Bloodlust, Frost Armor, now the Solar Crest. What's next?
I mean, they've got everything they possibly need. Maybe even a mech, honestly, but I don't think any. They have a Glimmer Cape too, so they have even more with the Ogre Magi as well. Super Bear, indeed. There's no real way you're going to be able to bring this Bear down without some heavy commitment. And I cannot believe EG didn't at least get one kill out of that engagement, or at least more than one kill, because really they had everyone extraordinarily low. I'm talking less than 20%, maybe even 10% HP. And Alliance, they played it perfectly. And even with Size Blink Dagger, S4 was able to stay alive. Maybe with wand charges, maybe just it wasn't enough damage as I was the only one focusing him down, but now there is the Silver Edge completed. EG are still behind, they need more. Sumail is used up and found out S4, but he's missed the arrow. He still will get the Stars from the last coming out. Good Fire Blast, S4 Glimmer taped up, and again, he will survive. Now Universe of Trouble, good Hex coming through from some third spike onto 2.
Oh,
They
he
finally
breaks
bring
into
him
the
down.
stun! Unfortunate by S4, the send back by PPD. Looking to turn this fight around. They've saved everyone so far. Even Universe makes it out. Now Fear on the run. An Angry Bear mauling in. Loda with an Aegis in the front lines, diving deeper.
Yes, Aegis, but I don't think he needs to go in too far. Zai now getting hit up with the Fire Blast. Still in triple figure. There's the Aegis. Gone now. He's going to get tangled up and actually brought down. The Bear is going to be next, it looks like. They were resummoned.
10
it's
seconds.
Dead for 10 more seconds. They're looking to chase even further. Buyback coming in. They want Zion. They want more damage. They want more kills. And Ake will be next. EGM gets hexed up as well. And both supports may end up falling here.
Oh, that S4 blink into the stun really hurts them. Not having the puck for a second round of silences. And on top of that, the Lich dies 4 seconds before Chain Frost is ready. And it's a level 2 Chain Frost. Ay, caramba. EG, just when you think they're starting to lose their momentum in this game, they find a huge team fight. And what was quickly becoming a major alliance lead is now a very controllable one, right back down to probably around 3K.
Yeah, it's going to update here in the gold graph, and of course, it's about a, let's see, almost 2,000 gold exchange there. Although they did have to buy back on Zai. If he didn't die and they didn't have to have him buy back, that would have been one of the most, it just would have been the best fight they could have possibly gotten in that situation. And now they're going to look to work on this tier 2 tower, and that is the problem when you lose all heroes against the Drow lineup, is that you take towers instantly.
They really need to kill the Drow early in the fights, and Bulldog recognizes that. He buys the Blink Dagger now, something I mentioned earlier. It's kind of a core item in this build, and he's hunting.
Dream Coil whiffed. I think they might have gotten PBD. No, he just TP's out, but they will find the Chain Frost to get the kill. Leap away from Sumail. Zai might be the next target, but he's actually very fast with elite move speed. He blinks himself away. Tranquil Boots, Windlace. Winter would be proud that he picked up that item, and he will make it out alive just fine.
Move speed is king when you're running from the blinking Spider-Man. So Alliance
Spider Lady.
Lose their age. Yeah, that's true. Well, Bulldog is a man, but the Spider is a lady. I don't know what that leads to the hero as a whole. Some sort of strange composite, perhaps. But overall, for Alliance, they'll get this tier 2. I still think EG are pretty happy getting rid of the Aegis. That limits the likelihood of Alliance going high ground with this particular, this timing. So for Alliance, likely wait for the next Roshan, complete the AC on the Lone Druid. What else do they need before they can break the base? Nothing huge coming soon for Bulldog. S4, he's leveled up the Dagon, so maybe is skipping the Veil. Nothing is going to be picked up by Ake in a reasonable time. So I think it's mainly just the AC, and then they will be looking for that second push.
Loda has a cloak. I'm wondering if he builds that into a pipe. We've seen some Lone Druids just go straight at pipe and help their team out with that.
I think it's a
very good idea.
I think it's a casual cloak, because he's been buying components for AC since then.
Yeah, there's a good chance that
he can buy pipe later, though. If the game drags on.
I would like that. I would like to see that a lot, but I definitely think AC is a better item first and foremost. With the lineup they're against, he needs to finish that up as quickly as possible.
That's the cool thing about the Mirana Drow combo is you need a lot of physical damage mitigation to deal with the Drow, but you also need a lot of magic damage mitigation to deal with the Mirana. So you you get both types of damage in in oodles essentially, and forces Alliance to build very defensively. They see a tier 1 top though. At this stage of the game, a tier 1 is not something EG will look to defend. They'll more likely look to fight pickoff, push out the map elsewhere, as we see Sumail grouping up bottom, the rest of the team streaming in to join him. So Alliance will take at least a tier 1 for free, possibly a tier 2, as the second Roshan looms large.
The respawn time, not sure. I might have showed up yet. I haven't seen it currently, so we'll wait in another, I think, 45 seconds. We'll find out when it'll respawn. Now, Blink Dagger is up for Broodmother as his next choice for Admiral Bulldog, and man, do they take down that tower fast with, of course, the Hyperstone up on the Spirit Bear. They use the dust to make sure no Moonlight Shadow, but look at where everyone is from EG, pushing into the tier 3 towers, and look at the damage they're doing with Fear. He's just going to go straight to the high ground and just chunk this down.
They have a ward up. They see the Lone Druid. They're going to find Loda.
He doesn't have Aegis anymore. The Starstorm will come through. The Savage War will not save him. He has buyback. I don't think he needs to use it yet, but he needs to be careful with how they approach this next couple of minutes here for Alliance.
EGM even had a gem, but he wasn't there in time. Loda getting caught by the high ground ward. Now it's dewarded, but it has paid for itself. Taking the wheels off of the Alliance push, they force them back, then they get a kill on top of it. This buys EG all kinds of time.
I do want to talk about the Ogre Club. It is going to be a BKB for Fear. That was the question I was asking, is what item is he going to build? I thought maybe it would be too late for an SNY, and indeed it is, as he's picking up match community first and foremost, and it looks like Sumail is doing the same. He has an Ogre Club himself. I would not be surprised to see BKBs for both of these heroes in order to deal with some of the magic damage coming out from Alliance, and just control really is the biggest thing, especially from S4.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Alliance have the late game. Lich does not scale particularly well, aside from Frost Armor, which is nice, but Ogre with no farm is just basically a walking bloodlust. So you have two supports who don't offer teamfight control, much presence. Whereas for EG, the Hand of God save is always very relevant. The send back can be really game-changing, and then you have Lion, who offers tons of crowd control. So essentially what you're working with is a puck to initiate fights, and then a lone druid, where the bear will fall off late game against heavy physical damage, something EG have plenty of thanks to the Drow.
Right.
And the Broodmother, who, with the build Bulldog has gone for, is a bit more of a late gamer. Like, this is more of a physical damage. Right-click Brood, but when the BKB charges dwindle, if you get kited or focused when your BKB's down, you will die. You will be dealt with quite easily. So I feel like Alliance are operating on a timer, but that said, Alliance tend to pull out those crazy, yeah, this lineup can't really go late game, but we're just going to outmaneuver you around the map type of play, so maybe they can drag it out, but right now, I definitely favor EG if this drags into like the 40, 50, 60-minute mark.
They are playing against a strong EG lineup with, of course, I mean, an awesome group stage performance so far. 9-3, I believe, is currently what they're sitting at for EG, and they're looking to get that 10th victory. And Alliance, if they lose this, they are in some trouble when it comes to the upper bracket. They would like to get to that upper bracket immediately, rather than what happened at Manila, where they were shot down to the lower bracket to begin with. And
they're going to lose this tower top, easily claimed by Fear.
Fallen.
Alliance have to take a fight. They cannot just let EG take structures for nothing.
Fear's damage is ridiculous. Arrow sailing through. We'll see if it can connect on anyone. It'll hit Bulldog in the back lines. I don't think they dive deep for it,
that's
though.
That's a stalling arrow. That just means free damage on range racks here.
They're doing their best to split push with Loda's Spirit Bearer, and of course the Radiance Burn, and then down bottom that will be dealt with at some point in time as EG decide to push back into mid. Roshan respawning. It's a max respawn time, but it doesn't matter as it's up in about 30 seconds, LD.
I think this next stage is essential that Alliance takes a lane of racks or forces out some big EG economic damage. Now an Orchid pickup for the Brood. So this allows Bulldog to lock down the Lion in team fights. Not too useful against Drow with BKB. Could be annoying for the Bat Rider as well. So potentially he can just jump on one hero, BKB right-click them, and then Orchid another and take two heroes out of a fight. Even though it's a Brood, it's probably their most important team fight hero at this point, along with the puck.
Moonlight Shadow will go. Might have been in range of that ward underneath the Radiant Jungle. The arrow will come through, and they all dodge it. They see it coming. Blink Lasso S4 caught out with the, of course, new Aether Lens. Did they blow him up with the finger? Now turning, looking for Bulldog. He can't get to the high ground. Finally will.
They got the
buyback
buyback.
comes in, and it looks like EG are just heading out as quickly as possible.
Nice Orchid usage there, and Zai Bulldog doesn't have to commit a BKB, but the puck buyback committed already.
That's huge.
EG have no lasso though.
They have buyback on Zai. He'll use it, and they're going to head into the Roche Pit right now for Alliance.
They have no lasso. I don't think they can take this fight.
Lane break. Yeah, this is going to be tough. It looks like already you can see Sumail split
just
pushing mid. They really want to force TPs back to that tower. At tier 3, they want to get at least a tier 3 out of this, maybe even more.
Alliance sees it. They sense it.
They have to back
They
out.
back out.
Wow, that's huge. Sumail just by pushing forces Alliance out of the pit right now. Alliance are really in a tough position, and they even lose that tier 3 tower to creeps in that mid lane, as I was talking about.
They're going back in on mid. If they can kill S4 again, this is a dieback Fear. Did he actually see him? It's daytime. I think he got a glimpse of him there for a second.
16 seconds. Universe not really in the best position, and they're kind of split up with the squad. And it looks like that'll be the end of it for now, but still Alliance lingering around this Roche Pit as Bulldog was there.
They really need the Sages.
Moonlight Shadow onto Fear. They still have that gem on of Ogre Magi, remember. Not to mention plenty of sentries. Arrow will come through. It'll hit onto the bear. Sumail needs to be careful. He doesn't have vision on that high ground. Now the BKB will go in the backside lasso. They've caught Bulldog, but there's no right click between these heroes. And now TPD might be food here. He'll have to TP out with no such luck. he looks like he will fall.
But Sumail picked up Ake elsewhere. Loda trying to figure out where he wants to go. Moves into the pit. S4 trying to kill up Universe. Does get the double kill, but look at the base Mont. Fear, the old man, eye on the objectives.
The glyph is forced now. More TP's coming through. Good gust. Loda taking some damage down. The Shadow Blade away. They have that Gem Peak. APTP. They need a Brute coming out, and they will not find it from the Spirit Bear.
Alfredo, how disappointing here for Alliance, not coming through when needed. Maybe if Bulldog was playing the hero, things would have been different.
I think so. Meanwhile, Sumail grinding away from Bulldog. He's going to work. He's got, of course, the Solar Crest debuff on him. He'll be able to run out, of course, with the Yule Scepter in tow. And Alliance gets so many kills off the back of that S4 with a double. Bulldog getting 1 kill of his own. That'll bring down Zai for a second time. And now it looks like the Aegis will be there as Alliance get one of the first rotations of the game.
So EG got a tier 3. Fear was hitting melee Rex primarily, so didn't really do any long-term structural damage. Alliance still hanging on, Mott. I think one of my big worries, though, and I like this from Alliance, is S4 does not have a defensive item, nor does he have a defensive support. So no Yule Scepter for him, no Dazzle, very easily killed off in fights. So they give him the Aegis. They have 2 tanky cores. They recognize Lone Druid, very unlikely to be focused and die early, and Broodmother has a BKB, so also not a great target for EG. I like this Aegis choice, even if it is very unconventional, but still, the later this goes, the more it gets comfortable for EG.
Bulldog is just so farm now, picking up a Bloodthorn. Lasso coming through, they caught the bear once more. Are they going to try to contest this?
Midas? Can he get to a creep? No chance.
Second, Moonlight Shadow Dream Coil on it too. S4, Fear, forced BKB, TP, and they have nothing else to stop it with.
Does the Chain Cross mini stun? It does go through spell.
It does.
Was
does.
he not in range?
He might not have been. I
thought he was in range. Maybe
that
not.
would have definitely stopped the TP if it was there.
Close.
The mini stun does pierce BKB, unless they changed it, and I don't know about it. I'm almost positive it does.
I just double-checked the tooltip. It does, but he might not have been in range. Anyway, that hurts. He gets out, the bear dies again, and that's just the state of the game for the bear. It's very easily focused down. It was a super late AC for Loda, hasn't progressed in items much. Lone Druid still even with the Mirana, despite going for Midas as well as Radiant. This is just due to the kill score more than anything. He's 1-1 and 5, Sumail 8-3 and 4, so getting out-farmed overall. We'll now grab a Vlad's. But EG stalling the game nicely. They use the lasso to pick off the bear, and Alliance will have to reset.
Still, though, I think it's not the worst thing that they lost that bear there. 2 BKBs have been forced out since Fear has purchased this, and not one of them during a fight. So now he's down to 8 seconds in terms of his duration, which is not bad. 8 seconds and 7 seconds you're still right in your wheelhouse where you can deal a lot of damage and actually avoid most of the magical lockdown and as well as spell damage. So we'll see how things turn out. PPD's picked up a Hood of Defiance. So speaking of pipe, which I talked about earlier for Alliance, it looks like PPD will be the one to pick it up for EG's side, unless it's just a casual Hood, which I wouldn't be surprised. And there is that Aghanim Scepter for Fear. This is where the late game gets more interesting, as also Sumail picks up a Maelstrom. He's looking for more right click instead of just straight up caster damage.
They're playing the creep equilibrium game now, Mott. They are very good at clearing out spiderlings, very good at dealing with waves, and they can keep Alliance pinned in their base, I think, pretty effectively. You can't just send the Spirit Bear off on its own to split push. We saw what happened when it gets lassoed.
Yep.
The same will happen if it gets focused by the Drow Rangers. So that's 2 heroes that can pick it off. With a +1, the lasso is an easy way to bring it down. So Alliance, if they're not able to find an opening here soon, may find themselves constantly just playing tower defense, and that is a comfortable situation for EG to be in.
Very close game right now, and the buyback on S4 looked like it might have hurt him, but because they gave him the Aegis, and they've gotten themselves a bit of time to work with. He's only got 1 minute and 20 seconds left on that buyback cooldown. And Zai is the same, and he's also very close to buyback, 80 gold away, so they know how important these buybacks might be for some of these heroes. And Zai with a Blink Dagger, you don't really need much else for this hero. I'm not sure what you grab for a Lion. I mean, Aghanim Scepter maybe, but that's more luxury than anything else. Yules might be fine.
Scepter.
Yeah, then.
I mean, there's a take on Puck, so Ghost Scepter might just get you killed. I think Yules are 4-staff for Zai. Nothing else really jumps out.
This is a very tense game right now in Alliance. They need this win. I mean, again, if they take a loss here, it's not necessarily the upper bracket dream is dead, but you know, a win here would go a long way to either A
2-0 puts them in a decent position, but A loss here means they really need that last game. I don't think a team that's 6-8 will even get into tiebreakers. Looking at Group A, I think very likely one of those teams will be 7-7. So if you're not 7-7, then you are probably going to the lower bracket.
There's still 2 spots left, so that's the thing. I think there's going to be tiebreakers regardless, I believe.
Yeah, but it might only be 7-7 teams. So
Yes.
you really want to be taking as many wins as possible here.
Big creep army pushing into that tier 3 tower. They've done a very good job of taking all of those tier 3s down, and that one's now at half HP. Hand of God was used, they bring him back to the base, and so everyone's TPing across the map and just splitting up and trying to find any farm that they can elsewhere.
I think Alliance will be looking towards Boots of Travel soon on their big fours.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. As soon
Bulldog's
as you say
like,
it.
yeah, I'm not getting ratted, boys. Bots out.
Soothsayer, LD, you somehow call these things before they happen, and right after they do. So, a cool pickup for Admiral Bulldog. Bots 2 might be a choice later on down the road, but for now, he is 6 slotted. Blink Dagger, Bloodthorn, Echo Saber, Solar Crest, Boots of Travel 1, and BKB. And it's a very interesting build. If you were to see all of those items and try to guess what hero it was, you probably would not be successful in finding that hero. Maybe you'd say...
This is oh, well, the Bloodthorn Bulldog doesn't always go for, but the rest of it is pretty standard on his Broodmother. The Solar Crest, I think, only because there's a lone Druid on the team. But yeah, the old Broodmother build was very different. So this is a relatively recent adaptation, and I think the main reason why we see it now is simply because Echo Saber's in the game. It gives Brood much more solo kill potential and allows her to be a real right-clicking force even late into the game.
Yeah, that Echo Saber is very good, and we talk about it when you have, you know, any sort of extra ability that helps your damage, like, for the example, Insatiable Hunger. There's plenty of others. I think Insatiable Bite or Incapacitating Bite is pretty good, but that's more just in general.
So nice. Alliance, they're pushing the bottom lane, Travis, looking at buybacks here because they could become very relevant. Puck and Lone Druid for Alliance, Batrider and Drow for EG.
They don't have buyback on Sumail, and he is a tough kill, but he is not, you know, impossible to kill. But the split push is coming out. They bring down one. They've brought down line. S4, Dragdak, there's the Gust as well. He might be in trouble. No Aegis, and he's gone for 92, but he has the buyback. Bulldog is coming in, and he wants more. Blade Break. EPD is going to be left out to dry. There's no way he survives that. I don't know what he was thinking, but he was dead either way. Still, the split push commences, LD, and the base taking heavy damage to the range racks.
Oh, he's going to lose his whole creep army. Not there to bring the creeps back. So the whole Chen army dies. It means a couple minutes before PPD can be particularly relevant at the split push game. But notice EG, they're focusing on the ranged racks now. They want to get some sort of creep equilibrium advantage, not just through items, but also through buildings. Alliance are being chipped away at. We already saw them once die to Rat Dota. Well, the former kings of that game fall short again. It was OG previously who pulled it off with the Naga, the Tiny, for Miracle, and No-Tail. Alliance haven't lost any buildings yet, but it's just one misplay, and they likely will. And you could see EG also aware of that. Now BOTs for Sumail. If this game goes another 10 minutes, I would highly expect 6 BOTs, assuming the heroes manage to accrue the gold.
EG's positioning right now has just been exactly where it needs to be. Not necessarily flawless. They've lost a couple of heroes here and there. But Alliance are struggling to keep these lanes pushed out and across the river. Not to mention they were trying to do their own pushing, and it didn't work out. The split push kings not being successful in doing so. But again, they could use a little bit more time. Their late game lineup is still very strong between a Broodmother, between the Lone Druid. Even though it will fall off in the late game, as you mentioned, with all that physical damage, there is still more work to be done with these cores. And well, for EG's side, they still have plenty to get done. On top of that, they have the Gem on Universe. I think they have 2, in fact. Maybe just the one, the Gem on Universe right now, and it looks like they're going to smoke up.
Oh, they can just gank the bear if they don't see anything sweeter.
Roshan is up, by the way.
Bulldog creeping around, though. He might be able to reveal the smoke. Universe closing in.
They have that gem if he comes close.
But he's got a Blink Dagger, so it's going to have to be a very quick reaction if Universe wants to get the kill.
Beer has been spotted, but he's the only one now. The smoke will break for everyone. At least a couple, and they can head to the Roche Pit. There is that one Broodling in there.
This is the stage of the game where having Batrider generally will give you an advantage, just because he's the best hero for finding easy pickoffs. Alliance don't have that same type of hero. Puck doesn't have a Hex because We've seen S4 go for the Dagon 5. His ability to isolate and reliably kill off cores is extremely limited. Yeah, he can blow up a support, but he has to work with his team to kill cores, and that allows EG to be more bold with Universe here. But good positioning by Alliance. They dodge the gank. Now the Roshan dance commences.
It looks like it's going to be Alliance looking for the ganks. They smoked up themselves. They kind of thought for a second, okay, do we really want to go for this? They backed away. There's good Radiant vision here as the Observer Ward's going to spot right over the Roche pit, as well as that entry to the Secret Shop area in the Ancients Alliance's side of the map. So they'll counter ward. They have a gem of their own, I believe, still on that Ogre Magi. At least they should. In fact, they do with EGM.
Also got the Lotus Orb, so has a tool for the lasso here. A way to purge off the Hex of the Lion, potentially. Fire Scan does scout out Fear.
Yeah, Bulldog is in the pit right now, and he, with the Solar Crest, is going to work. They need to bring this down quickly, and they're doing a good job. In fact, EG are not
Universe wants to go in.
But he's the only one here right now. Moonlight Shadow will go. They have to try to contest this, I think. I don't think they can give this away. The Bear's still in there. Universe was looking for it now. Look at the low Druid Bear getting crushed.
Even Lotus Orbit, so it can be focused down, and now EGM runs it. The lasso finds Bulldog.
They bring him down. He's got BKB up and ready to go, doing some damage. But now another great stun coming out. The Chain Frost. The Gust will come through. It's one dead. I think the Universe now going to buy back. That Chain Frost is doing some serious work. The finger on Bulldog won't be able to bring him down, and Loda chasing after more.
Oh, good blink out there at the last second, barely dodging the arrow of Sumail as Ake runs after him. This Mirana is isolated. They might be able to focus him. There's the Dagon coming through, kills off the Cat Lady, turning onto Zai. Loda a bit late on the Savage Roar, not able to focus him down. Now the buyback on Sumail and the Mirana. He's coming back in hot.
Universe is back here at this point in time, and they've lost 3 so far for EG, and nobody dead yet for Alliance at this point in time. Bulldog will come back up, back to full health he is. Obviously, Roche is still low, a big point of contention.
There's no resummon.
S4 in trouble. He's going to have to jaunt away, and he does so, but he doesn't get to the high ground. He will use his phase shift as their way to bring him down, or does he just blink? He does. He blinks to the south, but he will not be successful in living.
Oh, man. Alliance, they just barely saved the Bear. They glimmered and Lotused it. It got away on like 10 HP.
They need to finish this Roche. They need to finish this Roche. Bulldog has BKB back up at 3. He does not get the Aegis. He does not get the steal, and now the lasso will come through. Bulldog left in position. His BKB is back up. Not enough damage. They don't have vision now, and everyone's coming back in.
Great Savage Roar, though. Fear already ate the cheese. He's got no way out. He's got no escape plan. He's down. Alliance hanging on to the pit. They'll crack the Aegis. They might get another kill.
Sumail is in trouble. BKB TP is going to go. They have the root. The Bear's not there, and it looks like they will not be able to get the kill, but that was a bloodbath that Alliance takes. They've gotten so many kills in that last engagement. So many buybacks came through from that EG side. You look at it, there's in fact actually just the 2 of them, and looks like Sumail and Universe both bought back, but they lost everybody. I think all 5 did end up going down at the tail end of the engagement when it was all said and done.
No structural damage during that time. EG... Well, actually, it looks like they may have done a bit to the range racks, but no buildings taken anyway, which is what EG really needed if they weren't going to win the Roshan fight. So they deny the Aegis to Alliance, but they hemorrhage gold after that engagement. And man, oh man, the Lone Druid Bear barely surviving there. Sumail pushing it to the absolute limit. Universe dies back. That he had like over 3,000 gold, and there's really no counterplay for a BKB lasso. So if he's able to farm a BKB this game, he can just jump in, go ham, find and isolate a core, and get a kill. But
they should have killed Bulldog that second time. I think they had no vision, though. They didn't have detection. As soon as he had faded away back into Invis, they didn't have the damage to bring him down, and they were chunking away.
It was a game of inches. Like, Sumail shot an arrow at him. He barely blinked out at the last possible second. Everything super neck and neck, but when the dust settles, Alliance, they do hold on. They take the Roshan fight, if not the Roshan kill, and they reset the game a little bit. It's still anyone's game. Both teams have great building-taking potential. You've got Demolish on one team, Drow on the other. You've got very heavy right-click from both squads. Good map control heroes. The Lone Druid to push out lanes, the Brood to threaten for ganks, and for EG, the Bat Rider. I think EG have slightly better overall push as far as the Mirana and Drow goes, but still anybody's game. It's Alliance who desperately need it, Mon.
The net worth graph is going to say that it's 10,000 net worth ahead, but at this point, I still think it is a very even game, even with just 10,000 going the way of Alliance at this point. Not to say that Alliance are are out of this or they're in trouble. They're in fact in a very good position. But what EG need now in order to take down some of these heroes is going to be that MKB, which Mirana has just finished, and I think they need one on the Drow as well. And Capacity Bite as well as the Radiance Burn is doing a great job making sure they have mischance on a lot of this right-click damage coming out from both of these heroes in both Sumail as well as Fear.
Yeah, completely agree. MKB is really good this game, but you know what's good at dealing with heavy right clickers? Abyssal Blade.
Yes.
Fredo's got another item. And with Ice Armor, he scales a lot better into the late game. When he's got the Ice Armor and you use the the Battle Cry, he's suddenly sitting on, how much is that? 45 armor.
Yeah,
so with the attack speed slow. So he becomes very difficult to kill. And similarly, Fear has Ice Armor here. So both teams recognizing that sustaining against the heavy right click is very important in the upcoming fights. Moon Shards now for Bulldog. This is a 7-slotted Broodmother. I think late game you definitely can replace the Solar Crest, get a Butterfly if you want to maintain evasion, or pick up something else for the team potentially, like your own Abyssal Blade.
Maybe you could go hard as well if you really want to be able to survive in these engagements. He has the Butterfly is going to be countered pretty soon by that MKB. Maybe
I think you get Abyssal.
Yeah, I think Abyssal is probably your best bet too. I agree with you, especially with the more defensive capabilities that it has now.
When he doesn't have a BKB, he's pretty difficult for him to stay in the fight, and they don't have a defensive support, so for Bulldog, it's going to be more about just trying to find a kill very quickly when he blinks in with BKB, and then run away, reset,
you know
try and
what?
wait for the second one.
I don't think Broodmother has any UAMs. I believe Scotty might be a good choice for the Broodmother to cut around some of these heroes to slow them down, and slow the attack speed especially. I'm not sure if that's...
I think they did change the capacity fight, right? So
yeah, it's not a UAM, I don't think, anymore.
So, yeah, Scotty could be okay. Generally, you see Scotty more built for, like, the mid-game stats, but a lot of options here. Maybe EG are going to pick up evasion. If we see a Butterfly on the Drow, then that's where he might want his own MKB instead, so... It's not really a game where like that one item is going to win it. It's more about overall positioning, execution. For me, eyes more on the initiators. Does Batrider get a clean jump? Like the biggest item I think EG could get right now, or the best way they could spend their gold outside of buyback is a BKB on Universe. If he gets a BKB, the only thing that counters him is a preemptive Puck Aghanim Scepter usage, maybe the Hex that he's building instead. Before the BKB is used, or a root, a very lucky root. So I foresee the Batrider being the most important here to get farm on for EG. Problem is, he's only got 9k net worth in 51 minutes.
His buybacks have been really bad, and I mean...
And this is the point in the game where Universe always needs to be vigilantly looking for pickoffs and there to assist his core, so he may not be able to farm it.
I don't want to say Universe's buybacks have been just, they were, you know, bad decisions, but it's just that he's died a lot of the times after buying back, and so that all of that money that he had is just now gone by the wayside, and so everybody's having some sound issues from Alliance, so we're going to take a quick pause here and look to, I think, just at least get things going in a second once we get back. We're ready to go.
What a tense game one. Alliance have just had a grueling day, have they not? What was it, a 75-minute game against Escape Gaming, which
something like that.
They ultimately were unable to escape successfully to drop that one.
That's insane. They've played a lot of long games, and it looks like it might be another one. 50 minutes already.
Coach finally win, killing off his pupils, at least taking one game, which... you really expect a 2-0 versus Escape Gaming when they go 1-9 through the first 2 days.
That's why they're in such a rough position right now.
Didn't get it.
Is because they needed to get that 2-0, and instead they dropped one, and now they're kind of in a position where, okay, we have to take at least one game off of one of the best teams in the group, if not the best team in the group, in Evil Geniuses. It's going to be tough for Alliance, but if they can take a win here, that's a huge victory, and it's still very, very, very close in anyone's game. Again, there's a 12,000 net worth advantage for Alliance, but don't let that number fool you. At 51 minutes, that number is rather small, all things considered.
12k gold lead at this stage is, what, like a 15% gold advantage, something like that? Not that big.
Yep. A lot of it is coming from the difference between Universe and S4. Well, obviously, Bulldog being the off-laner.
But S4 can be completely denied in fights. We've seen if he gets silenced, hexed, and or lassoed, there is no save, and all of that additional net worth is just gone in an instant.
Yep.
The item that could potentially make him the hero that deletes someone is coming, I think. It's either... It could be a late goods, but I think more likely, knowing S4, he will go for a hex.
Yeah.
Wanting to counter the Drow BKB, the Sumail Mirana BKB. And if he finds that critical pickoff with the Scythe of Vice, it could really open up the game for Alliance.
I feel like Fear has a lot of HP, just with only a BKB, Silver Edge, Dragon Lance, and Aghanims. I mean, all of those give very good stats, but I mean, like, he is like almost 3k HP right now, not to mention 27 armor, which is kind of absurd, so he's got some real good HP. Sumail the same, but not quite as much, 2300, almost 2400 for him. He has a lot of right click, not to mention the Aghanim Scepter. He got rid of his Yule, so won't have any TP canceling or, you know.
Oh yeah, he dropped that for the MKB.
I don't know if he sold it, I think.
No, I think he sold it for the MKB,
yep.
So he's a little bit less defensible, but here comes Alliance marching in bottom. EG are not pushing fast enough. They're likely going to lose a lane. They have to come back.
Yeah, they need to set themselves up for a good gank. They're going to go Universe, who gets taken immediately, and he just gets absolutely crushed. He's got buyback. The last already used. GBD getting chased down. His Bulldog is too big to deal with right now. He's hexed up. Can they bring him down the finger of death? He's low. Will they finally get him out of the game? It looks like he will. Drop for 96 seconds.
Ends a godlike streak, 1200 gold. They Lotus Orb the lasso there. That was a really sick play by EGM. Unfortunately, Universe had buyback, and Bulldog does go down. So it ends up being a Batrider buyback, a very poor Batrider, for a very fat Broodmother, losing a godlike streak. They also lose the Chen, whose deaths aren't that important unless they lead to structures at this point. So it ends up being a very slight win, I guess, for Alliance, but still a relatively even trade, all things considered. EGM, though, what a hero. If he doesn't Lotus that lasso, I think Alliance get completely crushed in that fight.
That is nuts. And, I mean, Universe, they had instant reactions. They knew he was going to go for it. They saw him coming in from the side, I believe, with his Firefly. He's forced to buy back it again, and so with, I believe, the buyback gold penalty, all gold earnings reduced by 60%, which means the gold that he got from the godlike spree from Bulldog is not that much. It's reduced 60% because of the buyback. It's rather unfortunate. Not the worst thing, I suppose, but...
Isn't that only for the unreliable gold, or is it all gold?
I think it's all gold.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I was playing a game where I bought back and I got a huge spree, and I thought I would get more gold, but unfortunately I got like nothing. So maybe I'm incorrect in that, but
he's not getting a BKB this game. That's twice Universe has had to buy back. Yep. If he does, it's gonna be like 70 minutes plus.
He could buy an Ogre Club now without any real issues. I mean, he's got enough money,
it's so big to have a BKB this game though. Like, sure, the Lotus can still counter you, but at the very least, you're not going to die instantly.
Wow.
We saw that fight.
Sumail is going all right click now. He even sold his Aghanim Scepter.
Well, at this point, he's got the Mjolnir to farm. He has the BOTs to move around the map. He doesn't really need the Ags for the farming potential anymore.
Exactly.
So I like the transition by Sumail into more right-click damage. Right. It synergizes a lot better with the Drow Ranger late game.
Yes.
So if you're Alliance, you really have to double down on physical damage mitigation at this point.
I mean, if Ethereal Blades, Ghost Scepters, which Lone Druid has, which is obviously very nice, but no one else, I believe, on Alliance has that item. It's just Loda right now, and this, I think, might be the first time since Aghanim Scepter was introduced that I've seen a Mirana transition from that caster sort of, I guess, build up into that full right-click Mirana, and she does plenty of damage, plus 276, not to mention when she gets a crit. Bulldog coming in, looking to just blow up some of the creep waves. Arrow almost hitting on Bulldog, however, it looks like it'll hit a creep instead.
And so the game of cat and mouse commences now.
Oh, it's going to be an Abyssal Blade.
Roshan's still a minute off. Alliance just want to be careful to keep this top lane pushed out. That's the lane EG will always be looking to push. It's the farthest away from the Roshan pit. Keeping this top lane shoved in potentially allows them to pick off heroes that are home defending, which is what Universe wants to do.
There's 3 here, and they're all coming in to help out as well. Bulldog and S4 are on their way.
Oh,
so.
Loda tanking the arrow, but that is a little too far back.
Yeah, there's no way they can go for this. They're just trying to push in the waves before, obviously, Roshan is up, and so now...
And look at Bulldog, just keeping Spiderlings near the pit.
Yep.
He knows Roshan is very important at this point.
He's done that the entire game, and he's going to keep doing it. He's going to keep sending Spiderlings into the pit, because the last thing that needs to happen for Alliance is that EG sneak a Roshan under their nose, and that might be a huge game.
They do it very quickly with the right-click build Sumail's gone for.
Do they have any armor reduction, though, is the one question I have?
It doesn't even.
I don't think it even matters. You're right.
You have Drow, you have a super stacked Mirana, you'll still kill it very quickly. Well, how does Lone Druid go past the 60-minute mark? His bear is 6-slotted. His hero is getting there. He gets a refresher orb now, so has the extra summon Spirit Bear to work with. You know, to a lesser extent, something like Battle Cry can be useful to get a second one off a team fight, but this is mainly for double Spirit Bear. Be a game changer.
A couple of Abyssal Blade.
Sorry, not double, triple Spirit Bear if you've already have a summon, so.
So Abyssal Blade now for Bulldog. He sold his Echo Saber inside the Roche pit. They smoke out of it as well.
Alliance. They walk into the pit in vision, and then they smoke out. Problem is, EG has no vision, so EG doesn't know.
They don't know that they're in there in the first place.
Oh,
they might now, and they
Alliance,
might try to group up and look for a push.
For their own good.
If they might only get Zai out of this, if anything, for Alliance. And Zai's already into the tree line. He knows that something's up. He's actually going to probably just TP away as Fear picks up himself a Butterfly and sells his Dragon Lance. Interestingly.
They could have just taken Roche.
Yeah, they really could have.
Oh, I'd say, alright, they clearly don't have vision. Let's go back.
This time, though, they might. You could see that there's a line being drawn by
I have this feeling EG is going to come and fight this time.
I have that exact same feeling as well. PD drew a line. He's like, yeah, there might be a Roche. We can head over there. Sumail is probably going to smoke up with them. And, Zai's going to stay top. I don't know what he's doing, but I don't think they can get to Roche in time.
All right, EG's not going to risk
Although
it.
this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would be.
Let's see, do they have smokes on EG? No smokes for 6 minutes. Doesn't look like anything.
They have one on PPD.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do, but it's too late anyways. Roche is already dead.
Alright, so Alliance. I feel like they deserve this Roche hand just for that crafty attempt.
Yeah,
they
that was a cool
rewarded
play.
by the Dota gods with it, but I would have rather seen the crazy team fight. That's something Alliance used to be known for. You remember when they went like the level 1 Roche TP game?
Oh, yeah.
And then they had the Mind game level 1 Roche where they suicide the Nature's Prophet to it, and then they had the other one where they TP'd like they were going to go Roche, but then they actually wrapped around behind the other team to rush to fight it and want to fight that way. So in one form or fashion, Alliance have always been kings of the Roshan. They also had the level 1 Roshan this event, but unfortunately this game, it's just a vanilla a la carte Roche.
I mean, at this point, I don't know if you could really complain, as S4 did go for the Lincoln Sphere instead of the Hex, by the way, which I guess is fine. He needs defensive capabilities, and a way to survive is going to be the Lincolns, and of course, the Aegis as well.
He's been destroyed every time by the Lion Hex and the Lasso. If one of them hits him, he just dies, so
there are
you can't really question a Lincoln Sphere.
The EG have so much evasion with between Fear and Sumail with 2 butterflies now that this is very interesting. They did sell the Dragon Lance for Drow Rangers, so that's a little bit of blocking of range.
So you really want double MKB to counter this. Bulldog pretty much has the money for it, but then he won't have buyback if he sells the Solar Crest. And Loda not quite there.
Does he have any slots on his bear?
These butterflies could be really game-changing.
He doesn't really... Oh, I guess he could sell the treads or the...
Yeah, he can get rid of the treads. Or the Midas. The Midas more likely.
Yeah. Bear's been hit up, and now it's going to take some ridiculous damage. The Aghanim Scepter, the Mjolnir is coming out from Fear. That is one dead bear. They have to resummon again. They have a refresher, but I think Loda saw that, and he's like, all right, let's hold on for a second.
Not use the Battle Cry, which makes it a whole lot squishier, but this still speaks to something that you'll often hear in casts and from a lot of players, is that Lone Druid tends to fall off late game. This is an example of where he falls off. The bear, even when it's... I wouldn't say this is 6 slotted, I'd say more like 4 slotted, maybe 5 slotted, as far as what the items go, but even then, Travis, it is still killable. At some point, maybe consider putting items on the hero, but Lone Druid,
you just die at that point.
Lone Druid is so easily kited by this lineup. They have so much lockdown. He would really need a BKB on the hero as well.
I mean, they're just doing so much damage that it doesn't really matter. I think Alliance needs to find the right jump in order to actually win these fights.
I actually love BKB Bear at this point in the game. It's something Burning did in, like, what was it? It was TI3? TI3, where they had like a 120-minute game. The Universe goes though, he jumps on the Loda.
Sumail is doing some serious right-click. EGM might be the first to fall, but he's in biz now. Don't have any detection. Loda fingered up, he's still about to fall. Pop. Jeez, Ake will go down. Everyone knows Sumail will die first in the side of Evil Geniuses. And Fear's getting focused there. The Abyssal Blade.
Oh, he used it for the double Savage Roar, actually. That's the other thing that Lone Druid brings to the fight. Very nicely done by Loda. Now looking for more. Onto Ake with the bash. Ghost Scepter, trying to back away. Gets the stun off, but I don't think he's making it out of this one. Travis hauled down by Loda. Creeps are pushing in, but not rapidly enough. Will they get the ranged racks?
Wow, that was a great fight from Alliance.
They committed everything on the Lone Druid, who popped the cheese. Savage roared once, refreshed. Savage roared again with the Spirit Bear bashing away, getting Abyssal procs off. And then Bulldog just going ham. Great fight by Alliance.
Even with the BKB, even with the Butterfly, and how farmed this Mirana and Fear are on this Drow Ranger, they're still very killable. I mean, but so are Alliance. That's the problem. It's an arms race. Who can kill who fast? Damage out, and Bulldog is providing a lot of that damage for Alliance. It's very frightening now to see how he try to deal with this, because Alliance, after that fight, they forced out some really important buybacks. The most important being obviously Sumail. He dies, and yes, you still have Fear. It doesn't matter. I think you're still in a really rough position. You might even just lose the game as he goes up. S4 might come through and he jaunts in, but
special tactics now from EG. We've seen a lot of clever repositioning plays in this tournament. The Kunkka X marks the spot sieging, something VGR used very effectively. Yesterday, eHome also busted out. Now we saw the Storm recalls from the Keeper of the Light. That's something Secret likes to use a lot. And now we're going to see the Chen send back into BOT Starfall send back. So
all right, well,
teams pulling out all the stops to push out waves and try to siege safely. And
Loda now with 4,000 gold. Let's see where they move next. Do they have any smokes on them currently? I don't believe so. They probably should have some in the shop. In fact, they don't. It's down for 2 minutes now for Alliance, so no team with smoke. So at this point in time, Alliance as well as DG, they're going to be playing cautiously as they lost that Aegis. With that Aegis gone, with that cheese gone, you have to make a decision as to what you want to accomplish. Roche is not up for another 6 minutes, and at this point, I don't know if you wait that long if you're EG, but if you go and you lose that fight, the game is over.
Buyback status. Radiant have 3, Dire have 3. They move in with Universe.
Light Shadow's gonna go. He's gonna look for the lasso. It's, of course, Lincoln Spear blocked in Universe. Now caught by the Dream Claw, and here comes Bulldog. TPD in trouble. Sumail trying to do as much damage as possible, but only one down. Bulldog will be next, however. Spear is laying in with this right click. The damage is absurd. They need more. There's the buyback coming out. Can they find anyone else, though, as EG will back away together?
That Rider actually only used the 4 step to break the Lincoln, so he hasn't run through this fight. While they are chasing S4.
They found the lasso. They need an arrow. They need right click, and he's about to go down, but no, there's going to be the face shift at the last second now.
Angry Loda rushes in. He says, "Get away from my fairy dragon. Leave him alone," and he does save him for now.
Fear will get the kill, but he's left alone. He's got nobody else to help him out. He does have buyback. Aka going to work at this point. And look at the Aghanim Scepter. They're bringing everyone down. Everyone died from Alliance, and Fear will finally fall. But Sumail is still here to do some work, even with the Star Storm. It's 2 dead now for Alliance. They bought back on the puck.
Bulldog has his ultimate. He can heal up if he just gets up one right click. He can't do it. Universe kites him to death. A dieback of Bulldog. S4 also rejoining the fray with his own buyback now. A dieback as well. The Spirit Bear's dead. Quite likely burning down. Falls 2, 4 down for Alliance. EG outlasting them down the stretch.
Oh my god.
Oh, that hurts, Mott. That really hurts.
What a team fight from just everybody. That was again, we've used this term so many times, but it was a massacre from both sides. Sumail now looking to push up. Fear forced to buy back, but there's no buybacks from anybody for Alliance. The only hero coming up soon is going to be Ake as well as EGM in 20 seconds in Loda. He does have another bear, but that's going to be his last as he's refreshed. They lose the Racksmith. They're going to go for the base now. The tier 3 towers being assaulted, and it looks like this might be a lost game for Alliance here, LD.
EG pulling this one out late, pulling it out in Alliance's comfort zone. Now the BKB from Sumail, the lasso, dragging the Spirit Bear away, and as the glyph ends, EG looks to close this out. Can Loda hold it? Sumail 2 will die back, actually, down for 130.
Fear,
not over yet.
This. They can't do it without Fear. He's about to go down. He bought back. No, my God, they're not going to get this. They're not going to get this. They're all dead again.
EG, can they close it? Universe desperately scrapping, crawling, ding, motherfucker! He goes down 2, and Alliance finds the triple dieback to shut down EG. Can they death ball back the other way?
There's no way! I can't believe they couldn't finish the game there. There's so much right click on everyone from EG, but it was just some immaculate play from Alliance, from Loda. They had plenty of damage. They had the Frost Armor. They had ways to control these heroes. Oh my God, I cannot believe it.
That's your MVP right there. Just a little lich with frost armor on building. Oh boy, EG, if they lose this game, someone's gonna be mad, and it might just happen now. Zai being chased out, Bulldog, they isolate him, the setback's there, but PPD could die back. Die back number 4! PPD's down as well! Alliance moving forward, Luna wants to throw it, but he doesn't realize there's still a tier 3, it's over,
tier 3. There's no way EG can defend this. They have 50 seconds before they can come back in. It's impossible, they can't do this. There's no way, Alliance, I can't believe they're about to take this game.
And you thought we didn't know how to play the late game, say Alliance. Oh, EG, they have to be kicking themselves. They underestimated Ice Armor, and it will haunt them to the bitter end. Alliance take a desperately needed game and keep their upper bracket dreams alive.
I can't believe that just happened.
I don't think anyone can believe that just happened.
Like, I've seen some games end in some